Hello, everybody. We're talking about the fiasco that is the Masters of the Universe. I just watched it and I'm echoing. I can hear myself. Let's see here. Uh, the, the total ripoff that he did of nothing new, he can't even come up with the old story from this, let alone a new one. And the new one is totally girl empowering. Yeah, woohoo. Uh, but uh, it's just amazing to me that how he. Okay, there we go. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm making dip.
Oh,
Mhm.
oh, we knew he was going to do that.
What?
Making
Yeah.
noise.
Uh-huh.
You heard that?
Yes.
Okay, well, I
Yes.
didn't intend for it. Yeah, but I'm making something called holiday dip. And I have
Ooh.
potato chips to go with it.
We
Oh,
we knew it.
Yes, yes. We were just talking about that.
Well, you know, there's three hot women talking around me. I should have snacks.
Especially this hot woman because she just got finished watching Masters of the Universe.
yes, you're so brave. I'm like
Uh,
avoiding the plague other than reading reviews of it.
Yeah,
I
that wasn't Tila.
Oh
no.
no.
The
What what?
the animations and artwork was great though.
Yeah, what I noticed and what I called the ripoff is there was nothing new. He used Star Wars. He used Lord of the Rings. Um,
You know what I noticed? You know when they played the Man at Arms theme, they
mhm.
had like a theme for them. That was a ripoff from the main theme from Deep Blue Sea.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
so even the music's a ripoff.
Yeah,
Um,
well, it was very close. Let's put it that way.
Very similar. Like some of the phrases and the notes and stuff are very similar and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah. It amazed me because when you see Skeletor, when oh hi Loki, how are you? Um, welcome. What
Did
what
Did you
I
notice?
noticed? Go ahead.
You know when Skeletor was talking about how he became a villain and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty much saying that he became evil because he couldn't get laid.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
have to go for the quote unquote incels.
Yeah. That's what they did.
Oh, and of course on the male character, you know. Mm-hmm. If that's not what
um,
it is, then I don't know what is.
oh, thank you, Teresa, because I can't do that with my phone. So, um, I noticed that he was doing the Anakin thing when he got sent to quote unquote hell. If you really looked at it, because when he got sent there and when they went to get the other, when the two sword, when the sword of power got split, okay, because what happened was Adam saved everybody as He-Man, but he divided the swords and to save the magic and save Eternia. He
So the
went to
swords were Luke and
heaven.
Leia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So one went to heaven, one went to hell. Skeletor went to hell, Adam went to heaven. And the swords went there too. And the spark that was left by the Empress, or I forgot her name,
Sorceress.
she gave it, a sorceress, she gave it to Evelyn to carry and to keep safe. So they all went on this quest. But when you get down into hell, Skeletor was thriving on fear. Gee, sound familiar?
That wasn't
Uh-huh.
Skeletor though. That was Scareglow, different guy.
But didn't it remind you of Anakin?
Yeah.
See, that's what I was like, oh, there's Darth Vader.
You know what
It
also
was
was
like,
Star Wars in there though? Orko's death is identical to the death of Kanan on Rebels. Basically, just holding back the explosion till the other ones get away and then dies.
Mhm.
great. Hello, Death Bite Saber. Nice to have you with us. See, I didn't watch Rebels, so that part I wouldn't know about. But I was like, you ripped that totally off. This is not original. This is not even, this is like the rebellion on a quest to, New Hope. Let's do New Hope. Let's do Empire. Let's do Lord of the Rings, because when Evelyn opened the way to heaven, what did that door look like? That door looked like the mines of Moria.
Yes, it did.
Hmm.
If you
Oh,
look how she,
Alora's just started reading The Lord of the Rings for the first time. I'm jealous.
Yay.
Yes.
yay,
Yeah, I started late reading and doing some research, but yeah, I
Have
began
you-
it.
have you reached the mines of Moria?
No, not yet. So,
Oh,
but
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. I watched Truth's Dream the other day too. So
Yeah, if you watched it, she conjured up a saying, and then the door appeared, just like in Lord of the Rings.
Speak, friend, and enter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I mean, that was so blatant. It even looked like it. It was
Wow.
like, Kevin, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
And so you can picture that Evelyn is almost Gandalf, along with Orko, is almost like a combination of the two. You get Orko he has all this power that he's not using,
Mhm.
or that he's scared to use. And then he does use it, and you can almost hear when he's holding back everything, you can almost hear, "Fly, you fools," just
Yeah.
like Gandalf said. And it was like, this is so amazing. Is no one picking up on this? He is grabbing everything from everywhere that he can possibly do. That's like the robot. What is that? C-3PO?
Oh yeah,
The
Roboto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man at Arms put his, his intelligence and everything in there. And so he could bring the sword back together. So they sent Roboto because he knew how to do it, as well as Men at Arms, and Men at Arms is protecting the sorceress. So it was like, wow, we have C-3PO here.
Mm-hmm.
A stronger C-3PO, but still.
Would you say it's almost like how they try to turn C-3PO into a translator for the Sith, even though he should know it in Rise of Palpatine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I'm sitting there just. I'm just sitting there with my jaw. My jaw kept going further and further down, going, oh my God. Oh my God, this is not empowering of women. This is just ripping off everything that you say you quote unquote love.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
weird though, because they keep saying that heroic males are toxic and that we should get rid of them and blah blah blah. But as soon as they try to create a heroic female, they give her only male traits, including a body.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's also sexist as hell. That a strong woman has to be like a man.
Yeah. Exactly. And then I even noticed that too when I seen Tila redrawn and stuff, and I'm like, they basically gave her the male anatomy. I've learned that in art school, when figure drawing is that we're taught to how to recognize female versus male anatomies. And then having a family member who worked in cultural department and learned about bone structure for repatriation or bringing back the bones to be reburied in our tribal cemeteries. Mm-hmm. You learn, like, even in the bone structure themselves, what is male and female. And so all this thing like, oh, there's no gender and blah, blah, blah. It's not biology kind of deal. Bull crap, because even the body after you're dead still has that trait within the bones if you're male or female.
Yeah, that's how archaeologists and stuff, forensic scientists identify.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So, yeah. And so when I see that kind of her, and even the haircut too.
So even in death, males can bone.
Yes, I guess that's one way of looking at it.
Well, yeah, but that part is wrong. That's, sorry.
Yes, He-Man sucks because it's not He-Man, it's Masters of the Universe. So, what Masters we shall see. Then
it used to be called that in the 80s too.
True, but the only one that was still feminine was the sorceress in all this.
Yeah, and Evil Lynn as well. In the beginning, in the intro, she looks like the old Evil Lynn. And for some reason, even though she's kind of dying because there's no magic, she got buff. How did that happen?
Yeah, they all kind of got buffed, didn't they? It was like, what? There's a gym in at the castle. What is this? I don't know. It amazes me because I couldn't believe how much he was ripping off from so many different places, and he never got a ding for it. Even, let's see, there was, Skeletor, even though, like you said, Steve, it's not the same person, didn't it remind you of Red Skull from Marvel?
A little bit.
Yeah, you're doing the Marvel thing for when he went and got the Soul Stone. Almost. It's like, give me your fear. It's like, okay. So they had to overcome their fear, and they knew one was going to die in order to obtain that. And so in overcoming your fear, it's almost like facing your death to a lot of people. And it was like, really, how many different programs and franchises are you going to rip off?
Yeah.
And that's all I kept seeing through this whole thing. It was like, you have to be kidding me. I'd be seeing something and it'd be like, really? Okay, that's Marvel.
Oh, I caught another one. You know, at the beginning, when it's, you know, when Tila and Andra are in that, you know, Stinkor's cave, they're using those masks and all that, then looking for an artifact. That's the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's true.
Same mask, even.
That's true.
You know, and there's that argument that I was on just a couple of days ago about people saying that George Lucas ripped off like Flash Gordon and Dune, and it's all apparent and everything's exactly the same, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, not really. He was inspired by them, and during that time of pop culture, they were all being inspired by each other, you know. And then he's a person, a filmmaker, so if he really ripped off and theft from these properties, he wouldn't have made it as far in the industry as a leading filmmaker, and, you know, broke records and stuff like that, right? So when you look at something like this, and you, like Lady Toriel said, that it looks exactly alike, that is a ripoff. When something looks exactly the same, that's what you call a ripoff.
Yeah.
When inspiration is that you take that inspiration and you make it your own. What Kevin did was take something and insert it into his series.
He did what SJWs do. They copy and paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the huge difference. Inspiration is taking and making your own. I think that there was a city, and I don't know if it's from Flash Gordon, I'm not sure, that George was inspired on to make Cloud City. When you look at the city that he was inspired by, it doesn't look the same. And that's the difference. And that's the point I'm getting at, is being inspired and making your own verses, inserting in, and it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, that's what got me, because I kept watching it, and it was like, okay, I watched it because everybody said how bad it was, but they were coming at it from the female empowerment point of view. I started looking at it, and you know me, Allura, I look at it from a totally different point of view, and that's all I kept seeing was, okay, he took this from here. He took this from here. He took this from here. It's like, is there any part of this story that's original?
Yeah.
And heck, he couldn't even have original insults. He copy and pasted those, and he was insulting the fans.
You know what? Some of the dialogue was shit too, because one of the characters, 2 or 3 times they mention hell, right? Well, they have no hell. They have Subternia.
That's right.
So where does hell come from? I mean, he's literally sending the characters to hell in these 5 episodes, and it's not called hell.
It doesn't exist in that kind of form, right? Like,
No.
like the name and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. If you die, clearly, according to the show, you go to Subternia, or the other place. I can't remember what it was, but where Adam was.
Yeah, Platurnia. Is that what they called it? Platurnia, and where he meets, quote unquote, the heroes for their rewards.
It's basically Valhalla.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, because was that a former sorceress that was there?
I think so.
And you saw the first He-Man? Ooh, that took a lot of brains, didn't it?
Oh yeah, that's Adam's forefather, actually. So he's black. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that oh, hello, Bone. How are you? And then the tree guy that says, told Adam, if you go back, then you're not going to get to stay in this form. You'll die like a normal person. You won't have your reward. So does that mean that only heroes get a reward? Even if you're a good person? I mean, what was the meaning behind that?
You know what, though? Shouldn't Orko be there? He dies a hero.
That's true. So where was he? Or did he get sucked up with the bad Skeletor? I call him the bad Skeletor. When he took him out. Skeletor's bad. No matter.
Lonely. Skeletor's so lonely that he sucked up Ochre. He sucked him up. That's so bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
He went from step to blow.
That he had.
Yeah, that fun thing.
Teresa, good one.
Evil Lynn was whining about how she didn't get, love from Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was whining about how he didn't get laid. So, like...
What is it?
Yeah, so you're just as guilty, Evil Lynn.
Oh, my God.
Oh, hey, Mark with the C. Thank you for coming. I love what you said. I watched your video about Masters of the Universe. We're coming at it from a different angle about everything that he plucked and picked out of Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Rebels, everything that is not. I don't think he had one great thought himself. He was using everything that he quote unquote cry about and loves so much. The man can't stop crying, I swear to God. He was probably he was probably crying and laughing at the same time when he was writing this, going, "Oh, this will be so good. Oh, look what I do. They won't notice that I'm doing this. Oh, I will pull this over on them. No one will see this." And it's kind of like, are you cracked? Are you really cracked in the head that this is so obvious that no one will notice?
Yeah.
I honestly think that they do not regard the original fans as part of their audience. They're still in this imaginary world where they think this phantom new audience out there that they can't attract for some reason.
Yeah. But that's the problem with these franchises is that they don't realize that they have a older fan base, and they pretend like we're all dead or we're all gone or whatever, and we must cater to these new ones. Mind you, yes. And the perfect thing that George did in the past was like with the PT and stuff like that, and even the EU, is that they catered to the new fans that are coming in and still cater to the old by, still, doing the continuity as well as they did or could possibly do in such a big franchise.
Exactly. It's what I call both and, not either or.
Correct. And it's just, it's mind-boggling that these people think this way, and that these wokeism, these new people in this woke culture stick to that as well. Like, oh well, you're just mad because they're catering to us. I'm like, well, it's not necessarily that. They're killing the franchise by just catering to a new demographic that don't understand the lore and stuff, and it robs all the nuances from what has occurred in the past.
Yeah, because they forget there's people still around that have watched the originals, grew up with the originals, love the originals, and the incarnations of them. And now we're seeing this incarnation, which I'm sorry, needs to die. The animation is wonderful. I mean, the artists, the animators are great. They did a superb job.
Yeah.
But with what they have to work with, all they have to do is draw. The way this is heading, they're going to bring Adam back for, if he gets enough bad reviews, I have a feeling they'll bring Adam back. They'll bring Orko back, because boy, he was so proud of himself that he got to kill He-Man twice. Mm-hmm. I mean, I watched the after episode where they were talking to the actors and stuff, and he was beaming that he got.
What? We don't know if Adam died the second time. He was stabbed and he kind of keeled over and passed out. We don't know if he's dead. So, I'm guessing that there is a fake out, though. I don't think he's dead.
I don't think so either, but you should have seen Kevin's face. He was like a kid with a new toy. It was like, you could see him rubbing his hands together going, ooh, 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 I got to kill him twice. Ooh. I mean, it was like, okay, fanboy, go in the other room because you're creeping me out.
Yeah. Well, and the glee of someone that's got a new toy and is thrilled to stomp all over it and melt it like a psychopath or something. Mm-hmm. Like those kids that take their toys and blow them up and set them on fire and then laugh maniacally.
In this case, it's taking another kid's toys.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the kids that would.
He's a bully.
Yeah, or like those jerks that when you finally built a fort or something, and then they'd come in and stomp on it and then laugh when you cried.
Yeah, but the thing is, Kevin, in the interview, he basically said that Adam is alive. That we'll see him in season 2 or whatever. So he did give that spoiler, which I know he friggin' lied like hell in that interview and stuff. It was crazy. I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on that or anything like that. I think you want to break down the episodes. But yeah, so he was very disingenuous all the way around, no matter what.
Well, it doesn't even matter though, because you had Teela was just becoming, the man at arms, right? She was becoming the top dog.
Yeah.
Head of security, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then she throws a fit because she didn't know Adam was He-Man. I mean, they would probably have told her, the day after, right? Because she got man-at-arms job. But then she starts screaming at Adam's mom, who was breaking down because her kid died, and basically going, "What about me?" I mean, you can't get any more narcissistic than that.
Well, yeah, narcissist characters for narcissists.
Yeah, plus she was saying, how could you? You knew, and you didn't even tell him, the king. And it's like, look, a secret's a secret, okay? He's like Zorro, okay? There was another reference. He-Man has always been like Zorro. Adam's the weak.
Well, it's even in the old intro.
Yeah.
The old intro from the 80s, only a few others know this secret. Man-at-Arms and Orko.
Yeah.
And and I see people defending that, Teela did nothing wrong, they lied to her. No, they didn't. Nobody said he wasn't He-Man. But it's like, what if Commissioner Gordon throws a fit and starts screaming at Alfred? If Bruce Wayne dies and he finds out, Bruce was Batman, you lied to me. I mean, it's a security thing for a reason, because if it got out that Adam was He-Man, Skeletor would have killed him a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a kid. It's not that, well, he killed him in this show too. It wasn't that hard. Just poke him.
Hi, Shane. Nolan.
Yep.
Good to see you guys, everybody in the chat. Yeah, thank you for coming. I know it's spur of the moment. Yeah, but that's always what He-Man reminded me of, and was based on, basically was kind of like the Zorro figure. You act one way this way, and you keep your identity and you keep everybody else safe from all the forces of evil, because if they knew who you were, just like when anyone finds out about it, they use their families against them, because you're the most vulnerable by taking out what you love.
Precisely.
So it made sense that he doesn't tell any and everybody. And she just kept saying that, and it was like, okay, you're throwing a fit in heaven. When she was talking to Adam, it was because you lied to me. No, he didn't lie to her. He just never told her to keep her safe. And there's probably maybe going to be a romance there, which you could see that coming 5 miles off. Or unrequited love. I'm not quite sure which way they're going to go with this. But
I know which way they're going to go. They're going to subvert expectations and have Teela. Well, not going to subvert anything, to be honest, but they're going to have Teela and Andra be a couple.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And not subverting, obvious as heck.
Yeah, you mean you can't have a romance. To subvert expectations would be to have Adam and Teela. Because now in this day and age, everyone expects you to go the other way. And that would be refreshing. It would absolutely be refreshing now, because it's like, oh, this is the new norm. Mm-hmm. We're going to have 2 dads, 2 moms, or this couple, and what? There's no heterosexual couples anymore. I'm sorry, but guess what? If there's no heterosexual couples anymore, there's going to be nothing, because there's no propagation.
Well, they'll say that they'll keep it going with test tube babies and all that.
Oh yeah, and cloning. Men can be pregnant now, so if they're gay, they can become pregnant.
Oh, we're gonna do the new Superman movie then. Okay. So everybody was cloned and in their own station, and never rose above it.
Well, isn't that cheery? It's like you hear, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to. But you do hear nowadays that being traditional is the new rebelling. If you want to rebel, say you want to get married and have children. Like that's like that's how you're radical nowadays.
Oh, Lord. Hey, remember it used to be like, just being different was being radical. I mean, in a sense, like, you're not going to follow the normal traditional standards. And now it's like reversed. It's like exactly. We're on the opposite side of the pendulum, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah. Remember when a tattoo was, especially if a woman had a tattoo?
Or a nose ring.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have like 3 tattoos. So.
Yeah, but
I don't have any, because I figured you're not supposed to put a sticker on a Lamborghini either.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
Yeah, why mess with perfection?
Yeah, it's like fine wine. Okay.
You know what? If I ever like get a ton of money, I'm gonna buy a Lamborghini and put a sticker on it just because you said that.
You should. And you should say like do something like a Obi-Wan Kenobi like kind of phrase just to reference back to Stieg.
Yeah, like
really.
I know what it's gonna say.
What?
You'll never see a more wretched hive of cum and villainy.
Oh my God.
Well, there goes the rating of this stream.
Exactly.
That's okay. I'm not monetized. I don't have enough people. It's just fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget you're supposed to say things. So, but
Oh, is that your excuse?
yeah. Well, Alora's far worse than I am on her streams.
I forgot that you have to do this setting. It should be 18 or over because I forget about that. I put it on my videos, but I forgot about the stream. Everybody in the chat, are you going to watch any more He-Man? Masters of the Universe, shall I say, not He-Man? I'd be curious to see what you guys think. Yes, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
just
a good question.
Improper thing.
I don't know. I don't want to. I did like the animation style, though. It looked great, you know?
That's the only thing that kept me watching, was the animation style. So,
yeah, whatever you do, Lady Toriel, do not read aloud what Stieg just wrote in the private chat.
Oh, Lord. I haven't even seen. Okay.
He's ready. He said something very dirty.
Yeah. Unless you really, really want it to be announced, I wouldn't. No.
It's a good pun, though.
It is. It is a very pun. It's a very X-rated pun, but it's a very good pun.
Yeah. To answer your question, if she's disapproving.
No, I'm just reading it. Oh crap!
I said it and I meant it.
No,
I just don't know how to get out of the private chat now without losing the chat.
No. Let's see. Well, I do know. Well, Shane is saying no, definitely not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to watch Clerks 3 either, just for spite.
I don't know. I frankly, I haven't watched it. I have no desire to watch it, and I get annoyed when people get so straw-man-y about their commentary about how people are feeling about this on every different level. Like where you're coming from, Lady Toriel, where you're saying you feel like it's a ripoff, and they're like, well, George Lucas always ripped off.
Yeah.
Or the tired and true, you just don't want to see a strong woman. It's like there was a strong woman in it, okay? That's why people are ticked off what they did to this strong woman.
Correct. What about that? What about, I don't know if you've seen it, but someone with the blue check mark was basically, comparing, well, if Empire Strikes Back came out during this time, the toxic fans would have been pissed off because, Han dies. I'm like, what? But they basically straw man the hell out of that to defend He-Man or the Masters of Universe.
You know what's ironic about that? That's Liana Kay.
Yeah.
She's a YouTuber. I used to watch her. She actually has quite a few good takes. But a while ago, well, probably a couple of years, she was having a go at people who wanted to change Ivy Valentine from the Soul Calibur games. It's kind of like an evil character with massive boobs, and SJWs wanted, the game developers to stop sexualizing the character, give her smaller boobs, and dress her up a bit. And she was arguing that goes against the character because she's like a fallen woman thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was basically arguing against change of character design, the way He-Man fans are doing now.
Oh.
But I guess it's different if it's something she likes, though.
Yeah,
exactly. And what drives me crazy, what's so disingenuous about why they try to say that, like about The Empire Strikes Back. I was there. I remember. I was very little. We were mad at what happened in The Empire Strikes Back, but we were mad in a good way. We just couldn't believe, like, oh my gosh, they left us on a cliffhanger. But it was like a fun mad that we felt. It was it didn't kill the lore, it didn't kill the story. It was an amazing cliffhanger with Han Solo being in Carbonite. He wasn't even killed. That's the other thing that's
it was all about intrigue and excitement and like, damn it, you left us on the cliffhanger kind of deal. It wasn't like
we had to wait 3 years to find out.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one they said it was about Star Trek. She said about Star Trek, she's all, fuck you, Star Trek. You killed Spock for woke shit about friendship.
No, he sacrificed himself to save the whole ship.
That was the whole theme. The needs of the one or the needs of the many outweighed the needs of the one. It was a sacrifice. It wasn't woke friendship. He didn't do crap for friendship. That's not the way Spock was. He was very altruistic. And that's what was kind of cool about the theme in the third movie. Then when Spock came back, was Kirk said, being the human that he is, the needs of the one outweighed the needs of the Winnie. He was the one who was doing a lot out of friendship. And it was teaching you about, yes, you need to be altruistic, but you also need to value the individual. Nothing woke about that.
No.
And then further, and I'm going to just add one more to this, and then, but this is all in defense of He-Man, right? But she goes, you realize that both franchises at the time were considered unserious garbage.
Oh yeah, and that everyone, that it was kid stuff, it was stupid stuff, it was cartoon, it was
that's so interesting because I remember having long conversations with people and arguing back and forth and the cliffhangers and what could be and what will be and what should be and what will they do.
That's all we talked about on the playground. I remember being on the playground and having long debates, not just about Han Solo, but the big debate was Vader lying to Luke, or was he saying the truth? I mean, it was fun. It was amazing. And let's also be honest, Lucas then landed it. In Return of the Jedi, we got the answers. We got a good ending. Yes, it was sad. It was bittersweet, especially with Vader dying, but it was good storytelling.
Yeah. I freaking cried when Solo got put in Carbonite when I was little. I cried. I was like, why are they doing that to? Because I was little.
Yeah. Well, everyone, it was very intense, but it was good storytelling. Yeah. What they're leaving behind is they're doing bad storytelling and then trying to equate it with, we just did what others did. No, you did not. And she also said something ridiculous that people didn't like Mark Hamill either. I was like, are you kidding me? I was in love with Mark Hamill and his stupid feathered hair. And he was a hero. He was on the cover of magazines. Everyone loved Luke Skywalker and loved Mark Hamill. I don't know where they're pulling it out of their butt. The only people that didn't like Mark Hamill was apparently Rian Johnson.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Jester of Sin. Hello. I've never seen you before, so welcome. We're having a all-inclusive talk, a round table. And yes, the critics hated Star Wars, and the critics hated Star Trek. And we fought like crazy to keep Star Trek on television. You talk about a mass campaign. That was one of the first ones that ever started.
Hell yes. My mom was part of that generation, and they wrote letters, and all through the 70s, they petitioned NASA to call one of their experiment space shuttles Enterprise. It was huge.
Yeah.
It was the people. It was the fans driving that. Now it's the other way around. It's like the fans are to be scorned, and there are new overlords.
Mm-hmm. And the difference between then and now with these franchises, He-Man's just now another to put, or Masters of the Universe is just another one to put on the list now, is that back then it was all about story. right? How the plot and the story were developed, the world building, all of that, right? And, and the world building and like what makes sense within that world. Today, it's about, oh, well, what box can we check mark to, you know, appease the woke culture?
Yeah, to make it about our world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Jester, thank Loki so much. I appreciate him sending people this way. I don't do live streams that much, but they're fun. And I'm getting this off my chest because this is just too much where you see blatant favoritism swinging to Kevin Smith. And it's like, this is not right. And I don't care how much you try to justify what you've done.
Yeah.
It's so blatant to the original fans that kept everything going. Not only Star Trek, but Star Wars, He-Man.
You know what? Farscape. The fans rallied around Farscape when it got cancelled, and they got a miniseries to round up the story. And the same thing happened with Firefly, because you got the movie.
Yep. And a lot of the stuff around X-Files, too.
Yeah, that got rebooted anyway, though. I'm not sure if the fans did that, but...
but like back in the 90s, it was just like a lot of them, very fan-driven.
Oh, yeah.
And Babylon 5 is another example. Every year they didn't know if it was going to be renewed, but it was fan.
Yeah, it was very much fan driven because my grandma, I grew up on that too, with my grandma, and it's like, are we going to actually get a new season? And finally we hear about it. We're like, yes, you know. And my grandma was an avid Star Trek woman. Then she also loved, X-Files and stuff like that. And then we got into like Twilight Zone and all this fun stuff, that we watched together. And it was a good time. And I don't think that that's being shared today with, parents, grandparents, and the children today.
Not much. I think the exception that I personally have seen has been the Cobra Kai. Yeah. I happened to go to a convention with the actors from Cobra Kai, and it was really cool because there was a whole family where the dad was dressed up like a Cobra Kai gi or whatever they wear, and he had little girls and all that, and they were all doing the crane and all that. It's something for the whole family, and it was just really cool to see that.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I saw an opinion, and I wanted to throw this out here because I've heard it more than once, that Masters of the Universe, it doesn't matter so much what he did because it was never really that serious or important. It was just for selling toys.
Oh,
so it doesn't matter.
They said that was Star Wars too, right?
Yeah. And I just can't see that but it's interesting that I've been seeing that opinion going around. It's like, is it such a big deal if it's breaking the lore because it really wasn't that deep?
That's true. I just want to say hi to everybody that's just popped in. Masters of the TDS. Hi, Tommy, and hi, Bruce. Hi, Arwen. I'm so glad all you guys showed up. This is wonderful. Yeah, we're having a very roundtable discussion about. Started off with the Masters of the Universe, but now we're talking franchises. But
you know what? You should bring Tommy on because he knows more about the franchise than anyone I've ever met.
Oh, Tommy's the toy collector.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say he knows the franchise.
Yeah,
he knows
his
toys.
shit. Oh, he doesn't just know toys.
I know, but what I'm saying is he knows the lore and the toys. He knows everything about this inside and out.
Yeah, if you want an expert about He-Man,
I don't.
That's the guy.
I don't know how to get him on here. Can somebody send him the link? Or do I have to?
No, we can. One of us can send
That sounded strict. Can you send him a link, or do I have to?
I'm gonna top the car right now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the only man in here we can boss around.
And it's like, do it now. Okay.
I'm doing it on spite.
You remember that. It's like,
Oh, you're turning very robotic.
Yeah, you're robotic, sweetie.
Okay, how about now? Is that
Oh,
better?
you're good. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, that's something about hosting the chat. I have the floor.
You're holding-
Oh, you're more robotic than Roboto now.
She's becoming the character.
Yeah, she is.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, how about now?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see here. Hello, Tommy.
Hello, hello, hello. Top of the afternoon.
Hey.
Tommy, hello.
Tommy just crawled out of bed.
Oh, that was me too. Oh, we lost our host. All right.
Yeah, she's probably rebooting.
Yeah, she probably has her phones. But yeah, that was me, Tommy. I got the notification from Lady Toriel and I was like still in bed. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there. So I'm literally out of bed as well with coffee.
Welcome back.
Yes.
No, I seen you talking about that, and that's one of the things. There's actually a few bigger personalities that had said stuff like that about, oh well, it was nothing but a glorified commercial, and people should find a different hill to die on. Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at it from that perspective, how much of Star Wars at one point became almost like, commercialized just to sell all the merchandise at one point. Because, yes, it started off as just a story in a movie that Lucas was telling, but then it evolved into something else. That's why you wound up getting all these cartoons. Like, you got the droids and you got, like, that Ewok show that ran and everything else that came along with it, and that was to promote the sale of all the toy merchandise. Now, He-Man started off the same way. It started off as a concept for a toy franchise. And originally, what Mattel wanted to do is they were going to do a Conan series of toys. They had a contract and they were going to do a Conan the Barbarian run of toys, and then there was a problem with it, and contractually it never happened. So then they took the ideas of a barbarian theme and then they ran with this whole unique toy line called He-Man. Yeah. And it started off just as a toy line, but then it evolved into something else the minute they started making the mini comics to sell the toys. And the minute that it evolved into the cartoon, which, it technically was a glorified commercial, but it evolved into something else. Because originally, most of those cartoons were only supposed to run so many episodes, and then they were supposed to end. I mean, it was the same thing with the Transformers. It was only supposed to run 4 episodes, and it was supposed to be done. But because it was so popular and people wanted to see it continue, it became its own unique thing. And I think that's where, people like Robert Burnett, I think it's people like him. He just missed that,
Okay, you said it aloud. That's who I was thinking of. I was seeing.
I'm not shy about those kind of things, and I already said what I had to say about him and to him on Twitter. So,
okay, braver man than I.
Yeah. And that's interesting because, I grew up watching He-Man and even She-Ra when she evolved. I didn't realize that, it was basically a glorified commercial and stuff. When I got into it, it like took off and it was very interesting, very intriguing. And from there, and then I am, of course, all kids have to have the toys, right? So then that's what happened. And that's what Star Wars too. And like anything you watch as a child, you want to have some kind of toy to make believe and play on your own, right? And
yeah, which is why those inflatable sex toys sell really well.
Yeah, go there.
Yes, he did.
Ah.
And, you know, it's funny, OG. I mean, there's so many other franchises just besides, you know, like Star Wars and Star Trek and everybody else. Even Dukes of Hazzard went into the cartoon series to try to help promote the toy line that they were coming out with. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of different franchises. I don't think people realize how many different franchises out there that, yeah, they started off as just a franchise and they had nothing to do with a toy line, but then they used a cartoon or a comic book to help promote the toy line that they decided to come out with on the back of the show. MASH was another one. At one point that they had like a small comic for it. They were actually talking about doing a cartoon for it, and then that kind of fell through. But
yeah, and you remember getting comics with some toys, some specialized toys. I remember those days. Yeah, so those comics were great for selling the toys.
Oh yeah, because like I said, I started out in Star Trek, and to this day I have collectibles from Star Trek. I have it is so cool and I love it. I don't put it out and I need to, but it gets so dusty so quick. Is I have the original Star Trek phone. It looks like the Enterprise. And it lights up when it rings.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
But, you know, every franchise, and like I said, we're the people that keep it going. Now, who is going to keep it going? Because these people, they're so-called new fans. What are they going to buy?
Yeah. They don't exist, for one thing.
It's like, okay, give me something new. This is great, but give me something new. We're done.
Yeah.
They don't hold it as a precious thing. It's not something that you look forward to when you were young. You know, it was like cool to get this stuff. And the collectors were the ones that kept everything going. Well, where are the collectors now? We're still here, but the new fans are not collectors.
Well, you know what, Lady Toriel, and this is actually funny, and because I go out to the stores often enough looking in the toy aisles, you know, because I'm still a big kid. And awesome. I'm not gonna let it go.
Wear it with pride, darling. Wear it with pride.
I was sitting there and I was like looking at the Transformers, because whenever I go into a toy aisle, that's the first thing I do is I go to the Transformers section. And I actually seen for the first time in probably over 3 years of going, you know, in the past 3 years at least that I can recall, I actually saw a child. An actual child with his mother who was looking at Transformer toys. And I was like, would you look at that? Because usually I don't see children. You don't see newer fans. You see older people that are collecting these things usually. And I actually seen a younger kid for the first time in a while. So there are some new fans. It's just, it's not really who they're marketing to, though. I mean, that's been made pretty clear with the advancement of some of these toys and the way they're being made as collectibles.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to go back to how, you know, like our generations are, you know, of those of us that grew up with these older franchises, you know, we're more sophisticated. We like the lore. We like the continuity in it. You know, we want the merchandise, even today, right? And even Disney even said, I think this is like back in 1994 when they started creating the EU to be in line with the movies, is that they're basically saying our fans are so sophisticated that they want this, so we need to pay attention to what they want. And I'm paraphrasing and stuff like that. Now it's like it's the opposite end. It's like you know, who cares what you want? We're going to do what we want.
True. Hi, Soul Assassin, and hey, McKinney Draws. Great to have you guys here. Thank you.
Makini, Soul Assassins, what's going on, buddies?
Yeah. Well, I remember being a little girl, and they used to have things that would come with like bubble gum.
Yeah.
And remember those? And you get like a little card, and there'd be a thing of really dry, cheap bubble gum with
Miss
it.
Martin, I actually brought a bunch of packs back from my father's house that still had the old gum in it.
Oh my God.
I think at one time I did get like a He-Man comic strip in one of those. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
They were very random, like funny, quirky, dry humor. Sometimes you'd get like if there was a popular cartoon during the day, sometimes a quick little side thingy on that or whatever. But those were fun.
You know what I had?
Yeah.
A He-Man storybook that came with a cassette tape. Someone was reading the story. It was in Norwegian, though, so it was really shit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was in Swedish. I was about to say, I'm so sorry.
No. If it was Swedish, it would have smelled like shit, too.
Oh,
God.
Oh, because like Bazooka bubblegum, and I don't know if they still do it because I haven't bought any Bazooka bubblegum in forever. They always have comics in them, or they used to.
Yeah, they used to have that little tiny thing as part of the inside wrapper.
And
I think they do still sell them, Bazooka Joe, and I think they're because they used to be like 1 cent when I was younger, and then I think there's something like 10 cents or something like that now. But you don't find it in every single store. It's usually like a smaller, like mom and pop type store that has stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that because that was like a big thing where people were like, you'd get a comic. If you couldn't afford a comic book, you could afford a little tiny comic on the Bazooka bubblegum.
Yes.
And that was actually cool, but now people they don't seem to go for that. It's amazing. Tommy, I'm like you. I'm a big kid at heart, so I always go down the toy aisles all the time.
Yeah,
but
I still have. I was going to say I still have very fond memories. Not only, of course, going into Toys R Us and KB Toys, but going back to Kitty City because that was a big thing up in the Northeast area. Was Kitty City? I don't remember how far out west it went, but I mean they had the commercials out there for it, and they had the kangaroo, and it was just one of those things that it just stuck with me from my childhood, and yeah, it's never left me. I always felt that joy and that sense of wonderment when I went down to White House to this day. So it's strange, but it is what it is.
So we have Tim in here. Sorry, we have Tim in here. I don't know if I had to step away real quick, but he says basically the problem with He-Man in the 80s was that the lore was widely inconsistent. The cartoon, the mini comics in toy packs, and the comic title all had different portrayals of the universe.
Yeah.
He's actually wrong. He's actually wrong now, and I'm going to explain why he's wrong. It started off as the mini comics did start off with its own unique story. This is true. And when it came time for Filmation to do their version of it, it was a lot different than the comics. But what wound up happening is because the Filmation was so popular and did so well, they began changing stories as the newer stories came out in the mini comics. They began changing them and putting them in line with the Filmation series. So eventually it became almost exactly the same as the Filmation cartoon series. So yeah, it started off different because they didn't really have any big writers or anybody working on the mini comic when they had it done. They just had a bunch of guys say, oh, here's a basic story, just write something, because they just wanted to put something in the packaging to help to sell the toys.
Yeah. So basically that was how Star Wars started off with the early 80s Marvel comics, and then they decided to do tighten up the continuity. So basically that's the same road He-Man went eventually.
Right. Yeah. So he was both right and wrong at the same time, I guess, because eventually, because there's one story in particular at some point in the comics, and I want to say it's maybe about, I don't know, maybe about the seventh mini comic in or something like that. Mm-hmm. There was a story about a dragon, and the dragon winds up telling He-Man that towards the end of the story that he wants him to rip up a tree in order to save, it might have been King Randall's life or something like that. Okay. He-Man refuses to take the life of the tree, and then the dragon gives him the cure anyway, because that was the whole thing. It was to not take a life to save another life. And they had the exact same story in the Filmation. And that's why, because they were, at that point, that they were crossing over and becoming the same stories. So.
Interesting.
Tolkien knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, wow, we're not worthy.
No. No.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just, go ahead.
It's very nice to have Tommy on, because I think this is the first time you've been on my stream, Tommy. So this is the first time I really got to talk to you. So it's interesting to find out all this stuff that you know. It's like, yeah, we're not worthy. Oh, bow down.
I do appreciate you having me on. And as far as all the knowledge on stuff like this, I mean, if you ask my wife, she would say it's a bunch of useless knowledge that nobody should ever talk about.
Well, hey, you know what you know. You like what you like. And we all have weird, quirky things that we love and we collect and that we did. And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And that's what makes
yeah. That's the nerdum right there.
Yeah.
It's like Allura has her books and Tommy has his toys. Stig has all of the above plus plastic, we won't say.
A plastic Coca-Cola bottle.
Uh-huh.
That sounds worse, doesn't it?
You know what I got sitting on top of my over top of my kitchen, Steve? I found in my father's house the old glass Aunt Jemima bottles.
Oh,
nice.
That's crazy.
Well, that's a collectible now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Teresa has her crocheted little green guy with a hatchet in his head.
I bought one of those.
Yeah, that was a custom made one.
I absolutely adore, and Allura has a picture to die for of Ventress that's gorgeous.
Thank you.
If anyone hasn't checked that out, go to her channel, become a member.
Thank you.
She's going to be doing a giveaway sometime, somehow, some way. It is absolutely
stunning.
Now you talk about a kick-ass lady they did right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, would being a co-pilot count as being a member?
Oh.
He's like, I want special privilege.
Trying to find a loophole.
Yes,
yeah, I'm trying to guilt trip. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh Lord, that's hilarious. He's all, by the way, don't forget about me.
Yep.
That
you know what? I even though it's completely awesome, that painting, I don't have room for it. Because bookshelves.
That's true. I wouldn't say that was narcissistic at all. Now, would I?
No.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
No, it's all good fun.
She could also just, compensate for it by sending me an inflatable Ventress.
Oh my gosh.
But you don't have room for a picture, but you have room for inflatable Ventress.
Yeah. I'm not going to put the inflatable Ventress on my wall, am I? That one goes in the bed.
I was about to say, there's plenty of room in the bed for that.
Poor Tommy.
Why did I know that was going to go that way? Oh my Lord. Okay. Hello, Kip. You you picked a very good time to jump right into this chat.
Talk about inflatable dolls. Well, and speaking of which, I have a friend who is a fan of all this, who has written adult fan fiction of Masters of the Universe characters. I mean,
no way.
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff with Skeletor is out there. If you want to Google mature fan fiction somewhere, the fans are out there. I mean, grown-ups have paid homage in many different ways.
Well, that is a different way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Raylos. Oh, golly, gee.
Trust me when I say this, the Filoni fanboys are way worse than Raylos when it comes to that. I was dumb enough to look.
Oh my gosh, no.
That's the thing I wanted to say real quick is why can't these people let others like their franchises and the properties the way that they want to like it, and why do they have to sit there and start arguments with them all the time? Because, oh, well, you're wrong because you like it this way. Okay, like, and that was part of the reason why I even mentioned Burnett by name, because that's what he was doing. Oh, well, Star Trek is so much more important because He-Man was nothing but a glorified commercial. Okay, then what was Star Trek the animated series way after the original series was over with, way before the Next Generation was even thought about? What was that if it wasn't but a glorified commercial to help sell the toys that they were selling at the time? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Robert, you can miss me with that.
I remember that series, and it wasn't actually half bad.
I have the entire collection.
Oh.
You know what? If you think about it, that back in 2002, they had a new He-Man comic series, which was actually awesome, and also an animated show which was great. But they weren't really selling that many toys back then, though.
Well, there is an interesting story behind that, though, Stieg. So what happened is there was a smaller company who decided they wanted to remake He-Man and the Masters of the Universe as figures. So they created their own version of the figures, extremely posable, an updated version of it. And they changed the way they looked ever so slightly. So they didn't look exactly like the classic ones, but they hit all the same notes, especially the color schemes of their outfits and everything. They were so well received, but they were expensive, and they were all basically mostly just being sold at like Comic Cons and stuff like that. So what happened is Mattel seen how well that these were doing, so then they decided to use the same version of the figures that this company created, but make them look a little bit more like the Classics figures, and Mattel released the Classics line. Now, right after they released the Classics line, that's when they say, okay, look, we're getting a lot of good feedback for this. Let's run another comic book series and let's do another cartoon. Unfortunately, they just didn't have all of the commercial drive behind it like they had for the original one, because it was so fresh and it was so new that it wound up getting lost in the shuffle, and it only ran for like a year or so, like a year, maybe 2 years at the most. It didn't run for very long, and it was a shame because they did a fairly decent job on it.
Jester of Sin says, I meant to ask, what did you all think about the transformation scene in the first episode?
Oh.
I don't know if any of these guys, Stig, you saw it. So what did you think?
I think I'm not going to say it was terrible or anything like that, but it just looked off. It didn't look like it used to, Mm-hmm. I thought it was just. I'm not going to hold that against them though, because it's a transformation scene. You can do it. It doesn't hurt if you do a new take on it. But I thought it felt off. But
Stieg, did you ever see the 2002 one? They did something very similar, and I think that's where he got the idea of doing the transformation like that. He was never a fan. He was never a fan of the original series, and I don't think 90% of all those writers, because he had a lot of writers on that Masters of the Universe for what they've only worked on part of 2 seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of writers, and I don't think any of them were really familiar with the He-Man, or should I say, the Masters of the Universe franchise as a whole.
Yeah. Soul Assassin, I agree. The Thundercats reboot, the one I liked, I think that was the 2000. They did a good job on that one, actually. I like the characters. I like the animation. They made Shitara hot. I mean, let's face it. If it's the one I'm thinking about. And they upped the game on everybody. And I really enjoyed that series of the Thundercats.
Thundercats is one I never really watched that much, but I had a few of the action figures when I was a kid. But I never wanted to have a lot of them because they were bigger than the He-Man figures, right? So it was always better if, you know, they were compatible in size, because then you could combine them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, G.I. Joe and Star Wars, they mixed very well. So it was same size.
That's true. Oh, Tim, really? Okay. Oh.
Well, that was like that other series, though, Stieg, Brave Star. Those figures were huge compared to all the other ones, and there was no playability across the aisles between them. Yeah,
and the mask ones too. They were too small again.
Yeah, they were tiny.
But the cars they did for those, though, the toys, they were amazing.
They were so much fun.
Yeah, all the toys, and it's a shame. I'm glad you see a new generation coming up to play with toys, even if it's few. That means that at least some of the generation maybe will keep it going. I would bet that the mom that was in there is a collector, or the family is a collector, because it seems like that's how you keep it going, because you instill the love of these franchises in your children, which the creators nowadays are forgetting. It's not them that instill that into people. It's the generation that grew up with this and that are collectors, enjoy it, love it, that instill that love into their children.
Yep.
Precisely.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, oops, sugar. Sorry, my mic. That's exactly what I was saying about the way people do with the Cobra Kai, the people that were Karate Kid fans and enjoying that. It was the same with the little ones in my life, where we indoctrinated them from the womb into A New Hope and all of those. Mm-hmm. And help it share what you love with those you love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what they fail to see, is that this older generation that they think is gone and non-existent anymore are the ones that are bringing their children and their future generations into these franchises, right? And so that they have that disconnect. And it's crazy how they have such a disconnect, and they disassociate all of us from that, when in fact we are the ones that are spending the money so our kids can have this. So
precisely. And we're the ones with the money to buy them for the kids and everyone else.
Yeah, they seem to forget that that where does the money come from? Who is your audience here, folks? You know, it's like that kid is not going to go out and spend $60 on a toy.
Nope.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I think a lot of people forgot. I mean, they look back at these older franchises and they think, oh, well, these kids went out and bought them off the shelves. No. I didn't have any money. Mom, can I get Grimlock? My God, he's almost 20. You know, at the time I think he was almost. Hold on, he was about $15, which back then that was a lot of money back then. So
more like 50 now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what we would do is we would go and ask Santa Claus, and we would get like one at Christmas, and it was huge. We would get them. It was magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, they couldn't afford to get you a lot, but it was great when you got something, and it made it even that more special. And now I hope people still consider that special, but I have a feeling they don't, because they just go on to the next big thing. That's like we were talking about, you know, Firefly and Farscape, and they had interesting and unique stories unto themselves. Sure, they were sci-fi, but it's like X-Files, it's like Firefly, Farscape. They were unique in their own ways, and that's what made them special. Not rehashing everything because you have no imagination anymore.
Yes, and they were they were something that children could enjoy on one level and the adults could enjoy on another level. They were that sophisticated.
Yeah, even if you're not a big fan of it, Stargate and Stargate Atlantis. I don't know. I was into. Can you tell I was into a lot of sci-fi?
No, not really. Not whatsoever.
But they're each unique, and the characters themselves. But the premise of the story was always the same. There was a lesson to be learned. It was about loyalty. It was about family, no matter who your family was. Your family was the group of people you were with. Just like us, I consider us a different type of family, but family.
Mm-hmm.
And in their uniqueness and their bond, they came together as family.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they forget that now. It's like, you're going to like what we tell you to like. And if you don't like it, you can go away.
Or you're a bigot, you're a man baby, you're an incel. And then they wonder why we don't like them and support them. We're not beaten housewives. Come on.
You're not beating your housewife, Teresa.
Well, no, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, here we are. Let me just punch you in the face. And if you don't say, okay, I still love you, then there's something wrong with you. It's like, that's fecked up.
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the thing that got lost along the way. They were creating franchises and creating, whether it was like TV shows or movies or whether it was toy lines, they were creating something for families, so to speak. They were creating something that, could bring a family together, whether it was taking your family out to see a movie, whether it was sitting down with your family in front of the TV to watch a show that you all enjoyed together, whether it was taking your child out to pick out that toy from their favorite franchise and understanding what they were getting and knowing about it, because that's another thing that's kind of lost along the way. A lot of parents just don't care what their kids get. Like, oh, you want that? Yeah, get whatever it is, get it and put it in the cart. I mean, now it's become nothing but crass commercialism, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's so far out of people's reach. Soul Assassin, you're funny. It says, I always figured Tariel was more of a fantasy person, not sci-fi. What a bait and switch. Well, I'm both. I hate to disappoint you, but
switch, just damn it.
Me, Grimlock, loves seeing chat about Grimlock.
Bait and switch. Yeah, I'm fantasy, but I'm also very big sci-fi anime. if a lot of you people didn't know that, I love anime, collect anime. So, yeah, I'm a many faceted woman. How about that?
Here we are.
Nate. Imagine that, you're not a male, like a man baby hiding in his mom's basement. And of course, and you're a woman on top of that is multifaceted throughout these franchises, right? You're like the ultimate, geek woman here, that people can't measure, like a lot of people don't think exist. So
yeah, that's true. And there's a whole lot of us out here. And that's the reality of it, and they forget that. It's like there's geek girls and geek guys.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing with, I hate to say it, the green plastic soldiers, dinosaurs.
The G.I. Joe little green soldiers. Those are fun. But they were awful to step on, though. Oh my God, they hurt like hell.
That's true. I mean, and the dinosaurs and the Legos. I mean, I had massive battles. I remember all of the great old sci-fi movies where, it's like 1 million years BC and The Blob and all the great ones where you could line up your toy soldiers and you could have the dinosaurs swoop in and carry them and kill them. And we used to have epic battles. It was like, it was great fun. And it was like my Barbies. It was terrible because
there was a lot of toys, Toriel, that back then they would encourage imagination and creativity. Like, the little toy soldiers, they weren't much that you could really do with them because they were just stuck in their own poses. And it didn't matter if they were army men, if they were cowboys and Indians. It didn't matter if they were seafaring people, if they were animals. But you would combine them a lot of times with other type of toys. Like maybe you would have Lincoln Logs, which were great for kids to creatively build forts and everything like that. There was so much to the toys back then that are just missing from a lot of these newer toys today that have no kind of creativity to them whatsoever.
Oh yeah, that's like Shane Nolan said, Raquel Welch. Yeah, she used to be one of my Barbie dolls, and I used to have the dinosaur pick her up and throw her into the river.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to do that. Not with dinosaurs, but I used to have all sorts of crossovers with my Barbie.
Yes.
I want to know something funny though.
Okay.
When it comes to geeky stuff. D&D, video games, all kinds of stuff like that, even TV shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a guy or girl thing. They're like the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know tons of, women that play video games.
Mm-hmm.
They play the same games as the guys do.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to Nina about video games. She was playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm like, yeah, I'm playing it as well. And Teresa plays Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Alora's playing. If I ever get my computer working right before I throw it into the wall, I'll be playing.
And Geeky Candy, remember her?
Yeah. Oh,
she was streaming Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she was big time into the shooter games.
Well, the hijabi gamer sitting there in her hijab. Sitting there playing first-person shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's like who was the grandmother you were telling me about? I can't remember her name.
Oh yeah, there's a grandmother. She's in the 80s. She has a YouTube channel. She's streaming Skyrim stuff. She's done it for years.
Dang, that's pretty awesome.
She's making up stories for the characters too. It's you know what's fun though? I saw an episode where she was kind of retiring her character that she's played for probably 100 episodes, and she left all the money in the house, for her husband was gonna find it or whatever, right? She was walking up into the distance, and then she walked up a hill and kind of looked back at the home she had built and all that, and she was just gonna end the episode, and then she turned around, and a troll killed her.
Oof.
Yeah, it was just whack, and then you saw the corpse slide down the hill.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. She was like, "Fuck." The end.
Sad. That's funny, but sad. Oh my goodness. But the thing is, the point that the thing that I'm seeing with this, and the correlation, I guess you could say, is kids past to kids present, is that parents don't get involved with what their kids are doing like our parents did. And then kids are just given electronics like their phone or whatever to entertain them. And the parents are so disassociated with it that they don't know what to buy them. They just hand them the electronics to keep them out of their way, versus, you know, our parents who we went to the toy, and if we were like bothering so much, they sometimes would buy us something just to appease us. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that anymore. And that's the correlation between past and present, is that there's hardly any interaction
or oversight.
Correct.
That's very true. That's the one thing I noticed about Rev Kev. He plays video games by himself, and tabletop games, but he gets involved with what his children are also playing.
Yeah.
You know what? There was a heavy metal band that in the 80s. It was called Nuclear Assault. Now, on one of their songs, they were talking about this exact thing. They were talking in the middle of the song. They say, "Television, the idiot tube that helps to raise our children as fools." Mm-hmm. They were talking about it then, where parents were just throwing their kids in front of the TV and just letting them go, and they didn't care. And it was really something that didn't start until the mid 80s, and then it progressively got worse as technology advanced. I mean, now look at all the problems that YouTube had, where parents were just letting their younger kids wind up on YouTube, and then we get the whole COPPA thing because of it, because nobody wanted to pay attention to what their kids were doing, but somebody had to be responsible.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, the pressure on the parents now, with the way our society and our money and to make a living and to keep a roof over your head, before, the woman stayed home, nurtured the children, and now it's either the man or the woman stays home, or they both take turns, both working different times just to make ends meet. And that became very convenient for people. It's like, yeah, here, sit down, watch this. And they'd get enthralled. And in a way it was good, and in a way it was bad, because with us, we got the love for it, but we also are very competent adults. We don't take for granted what we see face value. And I think that's being lost on this generation, shall we say. Mm-hmm. They eat up everything that they hear and don't question anything.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, John Fogerty's song, I saw it on TV, kind of references that as well, that people think that what happens on TV is basically fact. And then we see this in today's fear-mongering media right now. And the thing is like with our generation and stuff, our parents are like, we're talking adults talk here. You guys go outside and play. And then you can have your game time. Now, that was my structure, basically, but I don't know. I can't speak for you guys, but that's basically it. You guys go outside and play. We are having an adult conversation. You do not need to be in the house. You should go ride your bike, whatever. Nowadays, it's like, here you go, kids. Here's your game, or here's the TV, or do whatever, just as long as you're out of my way. So that correlation of like self-exploration, and creating adventures outside is lost.
Yeah,
that's true. Plus, you were structured more. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know about you, but I had chores to do. I had chores. I had homework.
Yep.
And then once you got that done, then you could play.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing here. Like Sunday was the huge chore day where we would clean through the whole house. And then like throughout the week, we did have like certain chores that we all were assigned to do. And we had to have it done before we can even play a game or go outside and play. It didn't matter what activity we wanted to do, we had to have the chores done. And so there was a lot of structure. And and like even teaching native dance for 15 years, I've learned that the structure that of the kids have been lost within the generations. And kids don't know what the value of chores anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. Because now it's like everybody gets a medal for participation. There's no losers, there's no winners, there's no emphasis on, this is the way life is, guys. Yeah. And when you get out there, nobody's going to pat you on the head and say, well, good try, here's a medal.
Mm-hmm. And all of these things that we're describing has made possible people that maybe don't have your child's best interest in mind for brainwashing and all that we're seeing, where people are now starting to brag that, we're doing all this while you're not looking, and stuff that they're indoctrinating kids with in school. And because the parents and several other factors that we've just been talking about, it leaves these children very vulnerable to people that maybe don't have everyone's best interest in mind.
Yeah, and then it had opened the gates to this woke culture we're seeing today, which was why we are here discussing He-Man.
Essentially, so when people say it's just He-Man, it's just this, it's like, no. When you go for the culture, when you go for what is sacred to people, whether it's something very high like someone's religion, or whether it's something like someone's culture, the heroes of people's cultures are pop culture heroes. Mm-hmm. There's the same effect going on, and it's not good.
Okay, I have a question for the panel. We'll start with Stig. Do you think that we're raising a generation now of narcissists?
We've already done that. It's not just the teens today that are narcissists. The parents are too.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the parents are the ones that are out there, rioting and doing all kinds of stupid shit and being on social media. It's not just the teens. It's the late 20s people. And I kind of know. Well, I have a theory. Back in the late 90s, you had all those big daycare centers where they, you had 3 or 4 women having to look after 200 kids that were just dumped there for the day. Yeah. And the only way those kids could get attention was to throw a tantrum. Because, they even did documentaries and reality shows about it, right? They literally freaked out for attention. So that's what they learned when they were kids. If you do that, you get attention. And then they also started adding the participation trophies, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Stig, I wonder how much of that was actually them just looking for attention, how much it was that they were rebelling because their own parents didn't take an active part in their life.
Well, it's probably both, but still, those kids from back then, they're in their mid-20s now,
and making babies.
Yeah, and if you have a whole generation that have been taught, just scream and you'll get what you want, how do you think they're going to raise their kids?
Yeah. And I can attest to that. As someone that's worked with children my whole career, you do see that. And if you're to take a child and say, are you doing this because mommy and daddy aren't paying attention to you? Or are you rebelling? They're too young to understand that. They just know the response that they get. And if they don't grow out of that, then you get what we're seeing right now.
Also, you get the, what's it called? The immediate gratification people. Mm-hmm. As soon as you get an immediate gratification, it's all good, which is why movies are the way they are now, right? They have like a little joke all the time or a little bit of action. Otherwise, they can't pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what do also people do as well to give kids their immediate gratification or get them to shut up? Here, have a candy. Here, have some cake. Here, have some ice cream. And I think that's also where we have this obesity epidemic going on.
Also, and you're probably not going to like this, Teresa, but in gaming, you're getting achievements and trophies for just playing the games. Yeah, and that happened. Look, that was done for that generation.
That's true.
It's participation trophies. You're playing a game, you get that achievement pop up, right? And it's fun. Bam, you have 100 points. You can't use those points for anything, but it's just like a little, way to go.
Yeah. Well, remember that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation called The Game, where these evil invaders were able to take over the Enterprise by getting them addicted to a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah. Tom.
Back when Star Trek had thoughtful stuff in it.
They actually, the aliens actually tried that in the 80s with the Commodore 64 game called Samantha Fox Strip Poker. Because that sidelined me and all my friends for weeks.
I was about to say, I remember that and what that did to guys.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I beat that game. I beat Samantha Fox Strip Poker. I know all her pixels inside out.
Oh, geez.
Well, you know what? Yeah, here's the biggest thing I think we could take away from this nonsense with the reward and the award type of children that grew up with that kind of nonsense. You're getting those same kids now that are out in the workforce, and instead of working towards getting a better job or maybe getting some further education so they can get a job that's worthy of making enough money, they automatically think that, well, I'm working at a entry-level job, learning the ropes, I should be making as much as somebody that's been working in their field for 10, 15 years. I mean, that's what you're getting now, because you get that victimhood mentality. And then they think that they should be making $15 an hour or more just working at a fast food restaurant, which was entry level. That was your entry into the workforce, like someplace like that, or like a small grocery store, or like a mom and pop, like mini shop. That was your entry into the workforce. It wasn't supposed to be your career.
Exactly. And it was also a place where you learned discipline, you learned healthy obedience to a supervisor, you learned customer relations, you learned so many different life skills.
Yeah.
Laura, what do you think about this? Because you're a business owner.
All right. So with the narcissism, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, so I do have a family, and we raised our kids within our culture and all this other stuff, and made them think outside the res, is what the terms I like to use when I talk to Native American teens and stuff, because they want to stay inside the reservation and in the norm, because tribes basically give the kids everything they want. And so there's no trying out, there's no working towards. It's just like, and when I taught Native dance for 15 years for the tribe where I live at, we decided to do a dance team, and parents were upset because we made the kids audition for the dance team, because we wanted to make sure that they understood how to do counts with the Native drums, like how to understand, choreography and all that, and that they are well versed and advanced in their dancing, right? And parents were very upset because they wanted the kids just to be placed there because of them being tribal members. And our approach was teaching our kids to learn how to audition, to learn how to win gracefully and lose, humbly. Mm-hmm. And with the loss, to teach them how to strive for better things. And we're seeing this and so now I'm going to go outside the reservation. We are seeing this in the world today, where kids are given participation trophies because of feelings, because they want to feel included, because they want everything as well. So that doesn't teach them the structure of, okay, well, maybe I didn't get this position, so maybe I should try harder later. Mm-hmm. And so it's creating a narcissism in a sense, to where everything has to be about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. That's the one thing that I noticed about World Cup when I was watching the World Cup is the connection that the teams have with their fans. That they would walk over and they would clap to their fans, which we don't do over here. You don't see the football team saying thank you for coming out, for supporting us, for being here for us. They're shaking the hands of the other teammates, even though this team won, this team lost.
You know what,
they're
though?
still
in the Premier League. That's pretty common. They thank their fans. But a few years ago, Hull City was in the Premier League, and the players played really badly in the first half. They're like 3 or 4-0 down at halftime. The coach denied them the dressing room at halftime. He had them walk over to the side of the stadium where their fans were. He sat them down in front of the fans and scolded the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And they played better in the second half.
Yeah.
They still lost, but holy crap, though, that was epic.
Yeah. Well, and we just had that recent scandal happen where they tried to have the Super League, all these corporate suits, and the players were rebelling against it as well. They were like, if it was leaving the fans behind and letting people get into this super championship league, whether they earned it or not. And there was a huge rebellion against that because that's not what it's about. And sports, and I would argue classical music, which is what I'm in with my little clients, it's pretty much the one area where you have to achieve. You have to play together. Your little orchestra does. You have to follow the conductor.
Correct.
Because it won't work. You have to produce a product. There is no participation trophy. And it's amazing character building skills when they do start to play as a team. People often think of sports, but if you've got a choir, you've got an orchestra.
Yes.
They have to. They're a team just as much as anyone else because my section could play really well, or I could have my violins doing really well. But if the violas are sucking, it won't work. It has to be everyone together.
That's very true.
And that's what narcissism, like seeing this a lot apparent today, is that it doesn't teach teamwork, team building. It doesn't teach like hard work. And that's exactly what, like being in an orchestra or being in choir does, because I was in choir most of my life, even in high school and stuff. So I did sing, and I was a soprano. And so if I was off, then everybody sound bad. Today, everybody's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I was off because I got a participation trophy. So it takes away that hard work skill, that determination, all of that. And as a business owner myself, it takes if you don't have the characteristics of learning how to lose gracefully, and stuff, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to quit at a drop of a hat because you don't have those skills. And narcissism is all about me, I, and throwing a fit if no one's paying attention to you. And that does not lend to anything like any great development in any kind of society.
Yeah, and that's why I'm ashamed.
No, go ahead, Miss Martin.
Oh, I was going to say, and that's why I'm so ashamed of our women's national team in America, because even before all this kneeling crap they used to do, they would just show very bad sportsmanship and they got very prideful and like that witch Rapinoe. I deserve this. We deserve this. And we're like, no, you're our team. You're America's team. And I used to be so proud of our women's team, not because they were women, but they were frankly the only American soccer that was doing any well outside of America. And I was very proud of how our team was doing. But then they quit making it about America, quit making it about it was an honor. They made it about them. And they were very rude to the English team. I remember that when they were playing and they were taunting them and putting their pinkies in the air like with teacups and stuff whenever they'd score. And everyone was like, what are you doing, you bitches? That's not what you do. And so then when they started kneeling, it's like, they're definitely not my team anymore.
And then the one team lost spectacularly after doing that too.
Yeah, they lost to Sweden.
Well, Laura, I mean, that's one of the things is these kids, they don't learn anything. They don't learn about, trying to better themselves. So then they get stuck in this rut where they can never actually advance and then do anything productive because they feel like it's just going to be handed to them. And that is a shame. I mean,
Yes.
It really has been lost in today's society.
Well, it's like us right now. We're having a very civil conversation. We all have manners. We all let everyone have their say. We don't interrupt. This has been a very good stream. And you learn that by being a team and learning manners and working together to bring something forth that's better than yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And isn't that like, no matter what religion or spirituality you're in, isn't that a part of the virtues that we are taught? It's like working together. It's like being humble,
prudence, humility,
yes, and like and what do you call
charity,
charity, all of that. That's in like any form of religious or spirituality that if you study, you will find that that's the common ground that we all have, no matter what we our path is.
Well, you know what? In football, there's 11 players on each team. But it's really 12 because the fans they're part of the team. And when Rapinoe and stuff forgets about that, she's automatically not part of the team. She's part of herself.
Exactly.
Without the fans, they wouldn't even get paid. Nobody would be there to cheer for them.
That's very true. That's like here, you can have a discussion, and I could have nobody on and be just me. But how interesting does that get after a while? You don't get any feedback unless it's through the chat, which I love their feedback. It's amazing. But also, it's very interesting to hear other people's point of view that you may not think about, and then it sparks more discussion in the chat plus on the panel.
Yeah. And then so we get into the franchises here with, Ryan Johnson and now Kevin Smith, who belittle the fans, who are basically the team, the part of the team, the people that you want to cater to because you want to, have an income, right? And that goes into business. Myself, I don't talk politics when it comes around my business because I figured if I did talk politics and all that, I can alienate a large portion of my customers. And that's the thing. They're talking politics. They're in certain politics, so they are annihilating a lot of fans, and then they're on top of that, belittling the fans because of it.
Exactly. Well, I was raised in mixed company. It's very impolite to talk about money, religion, and politics.
Which is what we talk about on YouTube all the time.
Well, yeah. Well, but sometimes. Let me give a good example. The Nerd Father. He's a priest, so when you go on his channel, and when some of us go on his channel, you're going to get some religion, but sometimes it's just truth in advertising as well, though.
I know what the Nerd Father drinks.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Milk.
Laura,
pasteurized.
No.
Laura, you kind of touched on this and you brought it back around to Ryan Johnson and everything. And I just want to say, and this goes back to all the current franchises that we're starting to see big problems with. And this is part of that victimhood mentality that, I don't like it, so I'm going to change it the way I see fit. And I don't care what all the fans say because I want it my way. And it's that same mentality that we see in the younger generations. It's the same thing. It's once again, it's these people that have no structure to their life. They have no real values to their life. So their way is the only way that matters because they've received the awards and everything when they were younger. So it's going to be our way. We don't care what you think.
Yeah, and we're in a nihilistic time, and that's basically, you know, what happened is that this nihilism, the nihilistic approach is being inserted in there to where we knew like Star Wars to be this hero's journey, Luke Skywalker, the Skywalker, blah, blah. We can relate to all of that, even cultural wise. We can, and now that has been taken out in a nihilistic way. And I would say it did begin with JJ, you know, but it was really the wound was really ripped open with Ryan. Yeah. And so
Ghostbusters 2016, that's Ground Zero, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's like they forget that we pay their salary, even though they don't think that it comes from the studio. Well, where does the studio get their money? They get their money from corporations. Well, where do corporations get their money? Corporations get their money from the fans. The fans are, yes, they're the lifeblood of what keeps this all going. And they figure that no matter what they feed us, we'll accept. And slowly but surely, they're finding out that's not the case.
And I think that's why they're reacting like children having a temper tantrum, like what Kevin Smith's been doing, is how dare you? How dare you? And it's like, how dare you?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things without the fans, without the people that had love for these franchises, would Star Trek have still been around? Would Star Wars have would that have still been around? Would Battlestar Galactica have still been around? Would it have been talked about? Doctor Who? You can go right down the list where all these franchises, they had big lulls in the middle, and it was the fans with the extended stories, or whether it was different merchandising or comic books. It doesn't matter what it was. They were the ones that kept the interest alive for these things to come back again.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then they essentially tell us to go away. We don't want you. And so we do go away. And then they blame us for going away.
Yeah. It's amazing to me because it's a circle. You know, if you give the fans what they want, take a look at Lorena's channel right now. Okay. People are eating that up because she's going to Universal and giving you the difference between what Universal costs and what Disney costs now. And Universal is beating them hands down just because Universal is catering to the fans and making it affordable for families to go.
And Disney's doing the opposite.
Yeah, you know.
What about that hotel that's going to cost like $2,500 just to stay in for the experience?
Yeah, I mean,
where it has Kylo in there, but you know the Disney trilogy is supposed to, you know, be retconned.
Yeah, it's amazing to me to watch this because it's like, do you know how hard these people work just to even have a vacation if they have 2 children or 3 children? And in order to save up to go, plus you take the food, the I wants, and these people can't afford it. Walt Disney did not start out that way. He started out to make it affordable for everyone to go.
Well, we've seen that recently with the push from Disney to actually make it for the more elite to come to their parks. I mean, like, you know, whether it was just raising the prices of the tickets to come into the park, or whether it's stuff like building a extremely costly hotel inside their park. I mean, that is just what they're doing. You know what? I'm still cracking up looking at the Jester of Sin. the four horsemen of the entertainment apocalypse. That is beautiful. And what does he say? 3 harbingers have come. Yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and a very practical example, if we wanted to compare the two, when Universal said we're having a Harry Potter world, they actually gave us Harry Potter. They gave us Diagon Alley. They gave us the Leaky Cauldron. They gave us things that we loved from the books and the movies. And when they were doing the Star Wars thing, we were like, oh, we're going to see Tatooine. We're going to see all that cool stuff. And they're like, no, they just made some weird BS up that no one wanted to see.
You know, Miss Martin, that actually strikes a nerve with me, the whole Harry Potter thing. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you know the story about my father. So he was a huge Harry Potter fan. And unfortunately, you know, he passed away before I ever had the opportunity to take him, because I wanted to take him out to Universal Studios to see the Harry Potter. And I never had the opportunity. It's something that just kind of like sticks in my craw, because I didn't have the chance to do it.
It's hard. That's like, I wanted to go to, I don't even know if they still have it. Las Vegas had a big Star Trek where for the overhead where you walked.
Yes.
They had that. They had the transporters. They had
the Quark's Bar. I went to Quark's Bar.
Yeah. Oh, you lucky person, you.
Yay! Yeah, it was awesome. I had a drink at Quark's Bar. It was great.
Did they have somebody dressed up like Quark?
Well, they had they had Ferengis and they had all different characters. You can get married by a Klingon if you want to.
Nice.
You know, and it was fan based, and now that at least Universal's taking an interest and they're trying to bring it back around. And yes, I envy her too. That's
yeah. I went there for my 30th birthday. My sister and a bestie took me out to Vegas to celebrate. It was great.
Ooh, awesome.
I would have even dressed up in my Starfleet uniform. Oh my God.
That's where I learned how to play blackjack.
You know what? You know what just hit me? I'm so sorry, Lady Toriel, but I'm thinking back to Jester's comment again. We already have seen the 4 horsemen of the entertainment apocalypse. Everybody keeps forgetting about Michael Bay.
Or
Klutzman, if you want to go in that direction. Either one could make the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, the franchise.
You could also add Hasbro.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, a bunch of weirdos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't even begin to explain how disappointed I am in that. That just.
I know, because you're our toy collector, and you're like, what the hell? Like,
especially because they hold the Transformers and G.I. Joe lines in their hands. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and D&D as well.
Yeah, through the Wizards of the Coast. Yeah.
Yep. Woke as shit.
Oh, it picks Lady Toriel, or the Star Trek uniform doesn't exist. Oh, you'd be amazed at the outfits I have for Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I bet you look just awesome too. Marvelous.
Oh my God. You know what I found at my father's house, and I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. My father used to like to sew up costumes when I was younger, and he made a Wookiee costume for me. So I had this little furry suit that I couldn't throw it away.
I know you shared the 2 books that you found there too when you were cleaning up.
Yeah.
I've read through a whole stack of them already.
Wow, awesome. In your Wookiee costume, right? No.
I wish I can't get into that thing anymore.
You'll have to put it on one of your videos, Tommy. You have to bring out your Wookiee costume. Yeah, show and tell. That'd be cool to see your Wookiee costume.
You know what though? Although you should have Tommy on for the EU talk sometime.
Yeah, I know. I'm like trying to do 2 or 3 a month so that they are far in between and people can look forward to them. But yes, I have like Teresa, or I was thinking about Tommy, I already had Lady Toriel, which was fun. It was amazing. And so I'm going through all these lists of like people and trying to, schedule, per month and stuff. So you probably will hear from me, Tommy, and we can talk, toy like EU toys and stuff like that. Whatever resonated with you with the EU Star Wars EU.
Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. Like right now, I'm rereading through Tales from the New Republic.
Okay. So, awesome.
I just got done rereading, I guess what we would call the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
Starting with Air. Yeah, I just finished that off. But yeah, I burn right through those books. It don't take me long.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. They're fun.
Yeah. Poor Laura. She got Robot Toriel for such a long time there when my phone started going bananas. It was hilarious. We went from me to robot. To robot.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was still fun. It was great entertainment. We still got to hear, your experience and stuff. So it was all good.
It was a lot of fun. Guys, we've been going for 2 hours already. This is amazing. So I think we're gonna call it a day. I'm getting a little tired, so this whatever this junk is that has me under the weather is not being very nice. So
I've seen that too.
Tommy, you want to tell people where they can find you?
You can find me nibbling toes over at my channel, Tommy the Guinea Pig Collective, where I usually talk about old toys, retro toys, and movies, and the occasional spin and yarn on what YouTube is doing to all the creators out there. Okay. The last video I put up was about I wanted to dip into the He-Man stuff, so I did a review of the 2021 Hordak figure. And I'm planning on doing some more of those retro He-Man figures and put them up on my channel, just because they were paying such respect to all the old school toys that came out before them. So there's going to be a lot more toys as I dig through all the stuff that I brought back from my father's, including all the Star Wars stuff. So
you had a treasure. You friggin' had a treasure.
Yes. Tommy, you had me a little worried there when you said nibbling toes, but we got it. It's all good.
I heard nipple and toes. I didn't hear nibbling toes.
That's well, when I did the whole guinea pig collective thing, it was just, my wife always says that the guinea pigs are always nibbling everything. So somehow it de-evolved to the guinea pigs are going to get you and they're going to nibble your toes. So
yes,
it kind of stuck
in here.
Yeah. He had me scared there. It was kind of like, oh God, he's going where Stig's going. Okay. Stig, where can people find you?
On Alora's channel on most Thursdays. That's it, really. Well, on Teresa's channel now and again too, because we started the Lord of the Rings book talks. So usually I'm also on Sporking's channel for Mondays, but for the Game of Thrones book talk. But he's put it aside until October, I think, because his wife is having a kid.
Yes.
So it's on a holiday. So
so
I just pop up here and there if someone needs me.
If I can twist his arm and get him on here when I have my few and far between live streams, maybe I can do a few more of these. This was very fun. And I appreciate each and every one of you coming on at such short notice.
Later on, when you've read them more, we should have like a talk about the Dark Elf books.
Ooh.
Oh, yes, I'm burning through those. I've almost finished the last one I was reading, so.
It's been 3 weeks, and she's almost done with book 6, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
But they're good.
Oh yeah, they're fun. They're very fun. Laura, you want to let everybody know what's going on with you and your channel?
All right, so I'm coming up finally on 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I am deciding for celebration to cosplay, and I'm thinking of either Merex Tarek Horn or Jan Ors. So we'll see. And for a celebration, so everybody's saying Jan Ors. So, and I think Stig would probably say that too, not Tarek's. Horn.
Jan Ors is more recognizable.
Yeah. Yeah, that too.
She was in games and stuff.
Yeah, that too. And so that's the little milestone I'm coming up on now. But for the rest of this month, we're just having coffee chat this coming Thursday, and then for the month of August, of course, coffee chat's always scheduled Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless noted. And then on August 10th, Talking EU with Matt Wilkins, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you guys know him, he is very much like the prince or whatever of the EU. His channel is mainly built upon that and games. And on the 14th of August, Talking EU with Tim, our open airlock policy, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on the 21st is Literature Review. We are reviewing X-Wing's Rogue Squadron, and that's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on the 23rd, Hall of Knighthood, at 6:30 p.m. And that's a collaboration with Tim for our members to come together on my channel. And they are going to ask us, what all about the EU, have EU talk and all of that. So that's what's going on.
Cool. Okay, Teresa, you're up.
Oh, well, you can find me on my channel here where I'm started to do more content now that I'm free. I've had some Lord of the Rings, especially some Faramir and Boromir little videos up if you want to have a look at that. You can also find me around and out and about. I was going to say on A Song of Ice and Fire, but not until October-ish. But I pop on now and then on Alora's channel, Umpa and Airlocks. We're doing a Babylon 5 thing there and the EU. So stop by, give me a like, have a look, and subscribe to all the fine people on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. Hopefully I can do more videos. If you like what you hear, subscribe. If you don't, go listen to all these fine people. Everybody subscribe to their wonderful channels, even though Steve doesn't like to say that. You guys do wonderful content. Also, subscribe to Open Airlock, the Geek Blend. There, Matt Wilkins. There are just wonderful places to go and learn and be entertained. I appreciate everyone in the chat that stopped by. I thank you so much. Everyone, have a great day. And like I leave in all my comments, good journey to everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.
Sniff glue.
Don't listen to him.